now discovered that it was but the tip of the iceberg. Empire 999 is not alone in this illegal activity. Other corporations may have been formed to cover or mask this activity, as evidenced by their interlocking sets of incorporators, all the way leading to personalities who are long suspected of illegal drug activities, namely Lin Wei-shong and Mr. Michael Yap, the former economic advisor of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. This discovery led us back into the past. Witnesses now claim powerful people associated with these two Chinese have facilitated the entry of illegal drugs into the country during the past administration. We have invited all these personalities today so we may know whether or not they have any involvement in illegal drugs. And we shall listen to their side later. We shall also resume the hearing on the extrajudicial killings that took the lives of more than 20,000 people during the past administration's war on drugs. In our past hearings, names were mentioned, admissions were made, witnesses and resource persons appeared, questioned, vetted, and tested. Forced admissions in any way was never part of Quadcom. We may not have extracted yet the information fully from them, but we never put words in their mouths. Whatever testimonies and affidavits they presented before the Quadcom were given by them freely and voluntarily. We may be accused of providing entertainment and likened to a gag show, but who is laughing? On the contrary, the one who said that must be so full of himself that he didn't notice that the joke was on him. We are not here to pin down or exonerate anyone. All we wanted was to know the truth. The same truth that the people have been longing for, most especially by the families of murder victims and the victims who survived. We intend to use these truths in crafting legislation, some of which we have already filed, as well as make recommendations to any agency to plug loopholes in their systems, if any is discovered. If along the way, people are found to be liable, it is our duty to make sure that justice is served. There is nothing funny about it. We only mean serious business. We have reached this point because in the course of the investigation, we found very disturbing facts and questions needing answers. We owe it to the people. As public servants, we pledge loyalty to them. They trusted us and voted us in office. We serve them. We will not use the Quadcom to exonerate ourselves and proclaim our innocence in the face of overwhelming evidence. Now, if I may, I invite all of you to look at the screen and see the inconvenient truth. These numbers are from the official PNP reports as published both then and recently, last October 21, and not just made-up stories by the Quadcom. Ikumpara po natin ang unang 2 taon ng Duterte at BBM administration. Tingnan po natin ang total ng krimen o tinatawag na index crime volume. Sa unang 2 taon po ng Duterte administration ay nakapagtala ito ng 217,830 na krimen. Samantalang sa parehong panahon naman sa BBM administration, ang krimen ay bumaba ng napakalaki. 83,059 o nangangalugan na pagbawas ng 61.87% sa index crimes. Any claim to the contrary is but a figment of the imagination and if not, a propaganda. Pangalawa, tingnan po natin mula July 2016 to December 2017 ay may mga namatay o pinatay na 4,354 sa mga police anti-illegal drug operations, habang 16,000 naman at 355 naman ang pinatay ng mga riding in tandem at mga di pa nakikilalang mga salari. Noong 2018, inilagay ng PNP sa kategoryang HCUI or Homicide Cases Under Investigation na umabot sa talang 20,327. Samantala, mula July 2022 hanggang katapusan ng 2023, ang bilang ng mga napatay sa mga legitimate police anti-illegal drugs operations ay 73 lamang po. Pangatlo, may kabuuan na 115,435 na anti-drug operations na nakalikom lamang ng 3,294,44 kilos ng shabu na nagkakalaga ng 18.43 billion pesos sa unang 2 taon ng dating Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte, habang sa mas kakauling anti-illegal drug operations lamang sa parehong panahon sa BBM administration ay 84,676, subalit nakalikom na mas maraming shabu na umaabot sa 6,481.16 kilos. The anti-drug campaigns under President Rodrigo Duterte from July 2016 to July 2018 and the current President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. from July 22 to early 2024 represent contrasting approaches in tackling illegal drugs and the crime in the Philippines. While both administrations aim to reduce drug-related crimes, their methods and resulting outcomes reflect significant strategic and operational differences. Here is a detailed comparison of the first 2 years of the administration's campaign. As been shown earlier, ang numero po ay hindi po nagsisinungaling. Ito po ay galing sa Philippine National Police. Duterte's anti-drug campaign was characterized by an aggressive, highly visible approach involving frequent operations and a high fatality count. This administration focused on eradicating drug activity at all levels, which led to widespread arrests and significant drops in crime, but also raised concerns over human rights in due process. In contrast, the Marcos administration appears to have adopted a more refined approach with an emphasis on improved crime-solving rates and efficiency in enforcement. The significantly lower number of fatalities coupled with large drug seizures and high-value arrests suggests a strategic pivot towards disrupting drug networks through focused, intelligence-driven operations. This approach may reflect a more sustainable model aiming to dismantle supply chains rather than focusing on sheer arrest numbers or area saturation tactics. In conclusion, both administrations achieved reductions in crime and drug-related offenses, but the Duterte administration's approach was more intensive and controversial, with high casualties and widespread operations. The Marcos administration has made efforts to continue the campaign with fewer fatalities, a higher concentration on strategic arrests, and increased operational efficiency, suggesting a potential shift towards a more systematic and less violent anti-illegal drugs approach. The numbers mentioned above are real numbers. Sa totoo lang po, hindi namin alam ang mga tunay na pangyayari sa likod ng mga numerong ito hanggang nag-umpisa ang ating investigasyon. Ang sinabi na ating lahat na kwento ay ang karamihan ng mga pinatay ay kagagawa ng mga vigilantes na hindi pa nakikilala, habang ang mga natitira ay biktima naman ng legitimate police operations kung saan ang mga pinatay ay sinabing ng laban. Sa mga testimonyang malayang ipinahayag sa ating mga pandinig, ay naipakita na marahil dito ay bunga ng pamamaslang ng mga operatiba o pulis na inutusan pilitin ang mga nahuhuli na manlaban upang tuluyan na silang mapatay. Sa pahayag ng dating Pangulong Duterte sa Senado, sinabi niya na totoong sinabihan niya ang kapulisan na mag-encourage o hibukin ang mga suspects na lumaban upang patayin na sila at nang sa gayon ay matapos na ang problema. Mas nakakagimbal ang mga pahayag na may pabuya o reward ang mga operatiba o kooperatibang makakapatay ng mga nasa listahan ng drug personalities. Hindi ito maikakaila sapagkat marami na sabi, kabilang na si dating Special Assistant to the President na ngayon ay Senador Bongo, sa kanya mga interviews noon, kasagsagan ng war on drugs. Ang pangakong pabuya ang malamang na naging dahilan ng paglobo ng dami ng pinatay. Without validation of the so-called narco list, names may be added at will, whether or not the person is a drug personality, as in the case of General Wesley Barayuga, whose name was added to the list way after he was killed. May mga nagsasabi na maganda ang mga naganap na patayan sapagkat mga drug lords naman po ang napatay o ang mga adik na kriminal. Subalit sa aming investigasyon, lumalabas na may mga ibang drug lords nga na napatay, subalit iilan lamang, samantalang madaming mga malalaking drug lords ang nagpatuloy sa kanilang gawain at na protektahan pa ng gobyerno at nabigyan pa ng titulo imbis na maimbestigahan. Libo-libo ang mga pinatay ng mga tricycle drivers, homeless na nasa kariton, construction workers, at mga ordinaryong tao na halos wala na nga makain at walang laban, mga taong napagtripan na lamang. Ito ba ang mga drug lords? Pangkain nga, wala sila. Pangdroga pa kaya? Mga batang inosente, gaya ni Kian de los Santos, basta na konsuladahan ka, delikado ka na. Lahat ng patay may reward na katumbas. Sino ba ang ayaw maging ligtas ang ating mga lansangan sa mga masasamang elemento? Subalit kung ang mga pinalit sa mga masasamang elementong ito ay mga otoridad na naghahanap buhay, mas nakakatakot maglakad sa lansangan at baka masama ka sa missing persons or unsolved homicide cases. Ipagpalagay na natin na mga adik ang ibang pinatay. Bakit pa tayo naglaan ng daang-daang milyon sa pagtatayo ng mga drug rehab centers kung papatayin din lamang natin sila? Ito ba ang dahilan kung bakit hindi nagamit ng full capacity or in full capacity yung ating mega rehabilitation center na nandoon sa Nueva Ecija? Pag drug addict ka ba, wala ka ng karapatang mabuhay dahil wala ka ng silbi sa buhay. Ang mga pinatay ay mga tatay, nanay, anak, kapatid, apo, mga membro ng pamilya na may mga nagmamahal. Napakinggan natin dito ang kanilang mga naulila. Sila ay kaawa-awa at kalulus-lulus. It is really sad that human lives were lost and wasted just to prove a point that we are against illegal drugs. The right to life is paramount as it is God-given and precedes all other human rights. Without life, there can be no rights. Quadcom will not sit idly by in the face of all these discoveries. We intend to get to the bottom of all these issues fairly, honestly, and truthfully. Hiningi po namin ang inyong buong pagtitiwala. Hindi po kami nag-aakusa lamang dahil sa politika o ano paman. Kayo po ang humusga. Inilalakad lamang namin ang aming mga impormasyon at katotohanan base sa mga salaysay, tunay na nangyayari at mga dokumentong nagalap sa aming mga pag-iimbestiga. Patuloy po namin babantayan at sisiya sa atin ang mga aligasyon, akusasyon at informasyon para mapangalagaan ang ating bayan. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Next to deliver his opening remarks is the Chair of the Committee on Human Rights, Congressman Benny Abante. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sa ating pong Senior Deputy Speaker, sa ating Deputy Speaker, sa aking mga co-chairs, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, mga kababayan, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. We gather here once more for the 10th time, not merely to sit in one of our typical hearings, in order to file one of our usual committee reports, but for something far greater. We have convened again because we cannot and we must not lose sight of the purpose that drives us. the pursuit of justice for the victims of illegal drugs, for the victims of Pogos, and for the victims of extrajudicial killings. To help remind us of why we dedicate so much of our time to this task, I ask you to remember the name of Kian de los Santos, that young man, that minor, whose life was tragically cut short by a bullet fired in the dark. We are here today for Kian and for the countless innocents like him who died in the name of a misguided, bloody war on drugs. To our people and to everyone here, I say enough. Enough with the gaslighting. Enough with the distractions. Enough with the squib tactics. We cannot be knocked off course by words meant to confuse or mislead. At this point, there is one voice we must focus on. One that was used under oath in the halls of the Senate. Last week, former President Duterte himself spoke before the Senate and the nation, and in his own words, took responsibility for the blood spilled in his war on drugs. He did not deny. He did not deflect. He admitted that he gave orders. Orders that directed our own police forces to encourage suspected criminals to fight back so they could be killed. Under oath, he told us this without shame and without remorse. This was not hearsay. This was not a speculation. This was a declaration from the man himself. He went further. Under oath, he admitted to the existence of the Double Death Squad, an entity with a lethal mandate that was replicated around the whole country when PRRD was elected president in 2016. But the former president did not stop there. He pointed his finger at the sitting senator, a member of our very government, and named him a part of the DDS, not a Duterte defending senator, no, but a member of the notorious Double Death Squad. Ano ang sinabi ni PRRD, and I quote, yung isang senador, yang nakaupo dyan, si Senator De La Rosa, Death Squad rin yan. End of quote. And now comes this familiar refrain. It was all a joke. Biro lamang daw. But I ask you, my friends and my colleagues, I ask you, who makes jokes under oath? Who laughs while mothers bury their sons? Who finds humor in this horror? This is no laughing matter. The lives lost, the grief that lingers, the blood spilled in our streets, these are not punchlines in a cruel joke. These are lives, young innocent lives taken from us. But perhaps we should not be surprised. Perhaps we should not be shocked that this sacred issue, the sanctity of life, is treated so trivially. For we have seen time and time again how human life has been cheapened, how easily these men speak of death, how casually they wash their hands off the blood of the innocent. As Proverbs 31 verse 8 and 9 reminds us, and I quote, open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all, such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. End of quote. We are commanded to raise our voices for those who cannot speak, to seek righteousness for those who have been silent, and to demand justice for those who have suffered unjustly. This, my friends, This is why we must not falter. This is why we must not rest. Why we must not turn away. We have a responsibility, not only to the victims, but to our nation. We must continue this work, unyielding, unrelenting, uncompromising. Mga kasama, we have the statement of the former president. We also have testimony and evidence that corroborates what he said under oath. Now, we must hold to account those who have perpetrated this heinous crime. Now we must ensure that the cries of the oppressed are not drowned out by laughter, that the dignity of human life is restored, and that no one, no matter how powerful, is above the law. And as we press forward, let us remember this. We do not stand here alone. We stand with Kian. We stand with his family. We stand with a 3-year-old killed by a stray bullet in Cebu. We stand with a 9-year-old killed in Caloocan. And the death certificate showed that he died of pneumonia. We stand with a tricycle driver gunned down just because a drug lord rode in his tricycle. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand with every victim of this dark and bloody campaign. The banality of evil must come to an end. We stand for those who cannot speak, for the voices that were silenced too soon. And we stand with the promise, the solemn vow, that we will do everything in our power to ensure this never happens in our country again. So with hearts full of resolve and eyes fixated on justice, let us continue to work. For if we are to be remembered, if the 19th Congress is to be remembered, let it be not for the jokes or the gaslighting, but for our dedication to the truth, our commitment to justice, and our compassion for those who suffer. Mga kaibigan, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you, Congressman Abante. The next to deliver his opening remarks is Congressman, the Chair of the Committee on Public Order and Safety, Congressman Dan Fernandez.
Mr. Chairman, I have no opening remarks for today's meeting. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The next to deliver his opening remarks is the Chair of the Committee on Public Accounts, Congressman Caraps Paduano. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone.
Andito yata Tita Yod.
10 public hearings, and over the course of these proceedings, numerous witnesses have come forward, reinforcing suspicions of widespread abuses during the Duterte administration war on drugs. Thus, a significant question has arisen regarding the safety of these witnesses and what they stand to gain from their operation. First and foremost, I want to put on record that telling the truth is its own reward. There is inherent value in honesty because it upholds personal integrity, contributes to justice, and fosters covering the realities of past actions and ensuring accountability. Their testimonies play a crucial role in strengthening the integrity of our institutions and promoting justice and transparency. Having said that, it is the obligation of the House of Representatives to ensure the protection and security of these witnesses. As a legislative body dedicated to uncovering the truth, is safeguarding justice. The House has a duty to support and protect those who come forward in good faith to share their testimony. The House recognizes the witnesses in sensitive inquiries may face threats, intimidation, or retaliation. As such, it is incumbent upon us to take all necessary measures to shield them from harm. Current laws does not grant the House of Representatives the authority to directly confer immunity from suit. However, we can recommend our witnesses for the Department of Justice Witness Protection Program, which offers both legal protection and additional support. By making this recommendation, we can ensure that witnesses who provide vital information are shielded from prosecution related to their testimonies in line with the provisions of Republic Act number 6981. This action requires the consent of the witnesses and approval of our speaker. In addition, we may consider the option of granting protective custody to ensure the physical safety of the such person who may be at risk due to their involvement in this investigation. While protective custody does not provide immunity from legal actions, it is an established measure that can provide immediate security during the course of our proceedings. Both actions would require collective decision from the members of the Joint Committee. This ensures that we act transparently and uphold the principles of democracy. Mr. Chairman, before we proceed with the continuation of our inquiry, this representation would like to put on record and address certain critical concerns relative to the conduct of the parliamentary and Senate Blue Ribbon Subcommittee on the drug war implemented during the previous administration on October 28, 2024. To set things into their perspective, this representation fully recognizes the authority of the Senate to investigate the details of the implementation of the drug war, as both chambers of Congress are constitutionally permitted to conduct inquiries in aid of legislation in accordance with our duly published rules. However, while the authority of the Senate will never be put into question, what is particularly concerning is the seeming disregard for proper courtesy and lack of impartiality by a member of the subcommittee. In particular, I am referring to the actions of Senator Ronaldo Pato de la Rosa. Allow me to discuss this later, Mr. Chairman. Senator Pato de la Rosa action of participating as a member in a proceeding where he is named as one of the individuals involved in the implementation of drug war did not produce meaningful results, but rather cast doubts on the integrity of the whole process. In fact, prior to the hearing of the Blue Ribbon Committee, Senator de la Rosa even insisted that the investigation should be heard by his own committee. This action of a sitting member of Congress not only demonstrates disregard to existing rules and processes, but also undermines the integrity of the institution that he is bound to respect. Kung sa simula pa lamang ay gumamit na siya ng influensya, ano pa ang aasahan natin sa kanya sa mga gaganapin nilang pagdinig? He was the PNP chief when the previous implementation introduced the war on drugs. He also admitted that there were killings attributed to the war because of alleged cases of nanlaban. In short, he was not only involved, but was in fact one of the figureheads of the campaign during its inception. Hence, he should have been mindful that his presence in the hearing as a member of the panel would compromise, if not invalidate, the whole proceeding. Hindi naman pwedeng ikaw ang mag-imbestiga sa iyong sarili. Clearly, this is conflict of interest on his part. At the very least, he should have inhibited from the proceedings and instead offered himself as a resource person so as not to influence and intimidate the other guests. Unfortunately, the Honorable Senator failed to observe this. Even after the hearing, Senator Bato continued to conduct himself in a manner contrary to what is expected from a member of Congress. Asked about his comment on whether he was part of the Davao Hit Squad, whose existence was confirmed under oath by former President Duterte during the subcommittee hearing. Senator De La Rosa downplayed the same, claiming that the former president was just joking and there was no death squad to speak of. Now begs the question, why would the committee member defend and even interpret a clear statement made by a resource person in a congressional hearing? The confirmation by the former president needed no interpretation, much less from a member of the panel who investigated the same. If you would ask me, it is as if the Honorable Senator came to the defense of the former president while seeking to exonerate himself from any liability. This is further highlighted by his present statement that he will be objecting any action of the Senate regarding the submission of records to the ICC. The Honorable Senator's recent actions are truly disappointing, Mr. Chairman. We are conducting these inquiries in order to fill the legislative gaps and address the problems that necessitate immediate solution. In doing so, we also want to ascertain the truth about abuses and other acts related to illegal drugs, August and the case. Mahirap man ang hamon sa atin na palabasin ang katotohanan. Sa palagay ko ay napagtatagumpayan natin ito. In closing, this representation wishes to remind our Honorable Senator to observe courtesy and fairness in conducting his official responsibility as a member of the Senate instead of resorting to other means so as to discredit the efforts of this body. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Congressman Paduano. Before we proceed with the admin matters, may we request that the guests, the honorable members who are present, as well as our resource persons, be acknowledged. And the concept is directed to acknowledge the presence of the members as well as our resource persons for today. But before that, let me inform everybody that for today's committee hearing, dalawa po yung ating topic. No? Ang ating topic sa umaga ay yung usapin tungkol po sa illegal drugs. And then later in the afternoon, we will shift to the issue of the extrajudicial killings as a result of the implementation of the war on drugs. Comsec, please acknowledge our guests and our members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, honorable members, honorable Chair. For today's hearing, we have with us Honorable Robert A. Barbers, Honorable Dan S. Fernandez, Honorable Joseph Stephen Carraps Paduano, Honorable Bienvenido Abante Jr., Honorable Romeo Aco, Honorable Raul Daniel Manuel, Honorable Jonathan Kiev Flores, Honorable Gabriel Bordado, Honorable Johnny Pimentel, Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Dom Gonzalez, Honorable Arlene Rosas, Honorable Francisco Paulo Ortega da Fif, Honorable Edward Vera Perez Maceda, Honorable Zia Alonso Adjong, Honorable Jervil Chingiditrix Ministro, Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez, and Honorable Seriaco Gato Jr. For our resource persons, We have with us from the Anti-Money Laundering Council, Attorney Eranio A. Dumale, the Deputy Director, Attorney Luis Anthony K. Warren, Attorney Darius M. Canulas. From the Bureau of Internal Revenue, we have Attorney Stanton Arculio. From the Commission on Human Rights, we have its Executive Director, Attorney Jacqueline De Guia, Ms. Eileen Paradero, and Ms. Rachel Pelayo. From the Department of Justice, we have Attorney Wesley Young. From the Land Registration Authority, we have Attorney Paulo Tamayo and Attorney John Paul Hidalgo. From the National Police Commission, we have Commissioner Alberto A. Bernardo, the Vice Chairperson and the Chief Executive Officer of the Quadcom. From the National Bureau of Investigation, we have Assistant Director Glenn Ricarte, Assistant Regional Director Ferdinand Lavin, Attorney Ross Jonathan Galicia, Attorney John Mark Santiago, Special Agent Florendo Gamunak, Attorney Florendo Gamunak, Ms. Agrafina de la Cruz, Attorney Chris Godinez, and Attorney Yentel Manica. From the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, we have Director Carlo J. Silvo and Director Alden Juan Masakta and Mr. Nick Ayudon. From the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, we have its Director General Lazo, ASEC Renato Gumban, Director Imiterio Mitong, Director Emerson Margate, and Director Emerson Margate. From the Philippine National Police, we have Attorney Brigadier De Jesus Dulay, Police Brigadier General Nicolas Story III, the Director of the CIDG, Police Brigadier General Elias Mata, the Director of the PIDEC, and from the non-government agencies, the Center for International Law Center, excuse letter, and we have with us from the National Union of People's Lawyers, we have the former Bayan Muna Congressman Attorney Nery Colmenares, Attorney Cristina Condi. We have also representatives of Rise Up for Life and for Rights and victims of families of victims, I'm sorry, Ms. Dalia Quintero, Yore Pasco, Cristina Pascual, Miriam Erorita, Salvacion Ramos, Shira Escudero, Rowena Morales, Norma Lopez, Marilu Modisto, and Teresita Adrias. And of course, we have with us the Advocates for Human Rights, led by the missionary Rebecca Lawson and Deaconess Roberine Ikaw. Also from Program Pag-ilog, we have its Executive Director, Father Flavi L. Villanueva, SVD, Mr. Randy De Los Santos, a witness, Ms. Arsenia Chico, also a witness, Sam Castillo, and Elizabeth Campos. From the Bureau of Corrections, we have with us Mr. Ian S. Harabe and Senior Superintendent Gerardo F. Padilla. Again, from the Philippine National Police, we have with us Police Colonel Rolando Villela, Police Colonel Serafin Pitalio, Police Colonel Marvin Marcos, Police Colonel Redentor Olsano, Police Captain Delfinito Anuba, Police Lieutenant Colonel Santi F. Mendoza, Police Lieutenant Colonel Jason Bombasi, Senior Inspector Emil Garcia, Police Major General Felipe Natividad, Police Colonel Police Colonel Loie D. Chunglay, and those from the CIDG, Police Colonel Serafin, Serafin Tepalio, Police Lieutenant Colonel Chitadel Carandong Gayran, Police Lieutenant Colonel Marcelino Bastonilio Kiko Jr., Police Lieutenant Colonel Raycon Dalaan Garduque, PSNS Deborah Cruz Cordoba. Another set of PNP officials, now the Cavite Acting Mayor and former Police Brigadier General Edwin Carranza, Police Colonel Edwin Pilates, the former Batangas Provincial Director. Also from the CITG Haliki, Police Senior Superintendent Edward Carranza, Senior Superintendent Edwin Gilantes, Senior Superintendent Gayran, and Senior Superintendent, Police Superintendent Joseph Reyes Arguelles, and Police Superintendent Judy Lopez. And from former government officials, we have Mr. Wilkins M. Villanueva, the former Police Media Director, he is here. And former Senator Laila S. De Lima, and Police Colonel Edelberto Leonardo, and Police Colonel Joey Espinido. We also have with us Mr. Carlos Conde, the Philippine researcher of the International Human Rights Watch. We also have with us Miss Rose Nonoli.
Mr. Chair,
Miss Rose.
We will now proceed with all our guests. Good morning and welcome to ang dito sa ating joint public hearing ng Quadcom. Medyo pasensyahan niyo na po na medyo baka tagal-tagalan po tayo sa dami po ng ating naimbitahan. And we will try best to be able to ask you questions in the hearing for today. So, Mr. Chairman. Okay, Congressman Fernandez and then Congressman Abante. I was trying to look at the names that are being mentioned by the applicant. I think these in the last 2 pages. Actually, more niya. And doon sila other key personalities and mga credentials hindi ko mention yan. So, would you like to finish your mentioning all those persons who are present?
Yes, sir. Those I read are the ones present, but we invited a lot of personalities. I guess isn't
So yeah, the word you are done. Those who are
yes, those who are present.
present today.
Those who did not appear today, I think will be tackled by.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congressman Abante.
kaya ko po binanggit si Ms. Rosley. Tinatulong po sa akin ni Congressman Fernandez.
Okay.
Nandun, nasa harap pa lang po siya.
Good po, Ma'am Teresita Price.
Thank you, Congressman
Na wala.
Abante. Now, we will proceed with the admin matters, and with that, we call on Congressman Paduano. You're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we proceed with the admin matters on all invitees, Mr. Chairman, regards to documents being requested and ordered by this honorable committee, particularly number 1, the DOJ, not for the DOJ. Conduct a committee to the Joint Committee on Investigation against the personnel who were involved in the killing of the late Leon Rolando Espinosa. And the remarks as of now is ongoing. Can we get some updates based from the NBI and DOJ, Mr. Chairman, with regards to Mayor Rolando Espinosa killing, the investigation that was directed to you by this committee, the opening of the investigation? Just a brief ako.
Your Honor, yesterday I met with the representatives of the DOJ, and I was informed that the Secretary of Justice, Attorney Boying Rimulya, has just created a special task force that would assist the Quadcom in the investigation and the filing of the necessary cases against anyone that would be found liable in the course of our investigation for all extrajudicial killings that happened. And they will submit to us an update, a progress report as to how far the Department of Justice has gone in the investigation.
Thank you for that, Mr. Chairman, for the clarification. Now let's go to PIDEA, provide names of provinces and all areas of related drugs. Anyway, I've talked with DG Lasso. Ako rin na po, nahirapan sa kumuha ng record. So, ongoing ko, but I instructed the Lola that the DIDN should provide us all the documents available with regards to all the drug-related killings from 2016 to 2022 and directed them to submit that documents within the day po. So, let us see if that documents will suffice with regards to the investigation of all EGK cases from 2016 to 2022. Now, to the DFA, we have already submitted the records of the Dayang and to the AMLAC with regards to asset preservation order to the properties of the Dayang in this process. Pangilinan. Still ongoing. Still ongoing. Now, and all other documents that was requested last hearing, that was October 22, was already submitted to the COMSEC, Mr. Chairman. I have just received a document coming from the Legal Affairs Department of the House of Representatives with regards to possible application of something of the legislative immunity to the members at the witnesses of this investigation, Mr. Chairman. And I move, Mr. Chairman, that discussion on this letter coming from the Legal Affairs will be deferred to the legal part of this hearing. Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, let's go with the invitations. Now, the committee has received a copy of letter coming from the office of the Davis representing Mrs. Mahamuti, and as hearing our legal records and regards to the medical status of Ms. Mahamuti Espino, and this is an answer to the so-called position last October 2024, Mr. Chairman. And with this, Mr. Chairman, I move that we issue a subpoena ad testicandum for Ms. Muki Espino of the next hearing. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion to issue a subpoena ad testicandum for Ms. Muki Espino. Muki Espino. And duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
And I would like to report the consent to the chairman that the address is presented for Ms. Muki Espino in the city government of Davao because Ms. Espino is employed in the said local government.
Consent, please take note of the address of Ms. Camila Espino.
We have also received a copy of the letter coming from the lawyer of Senator Bongo. Is explanation by you, I cannot place it in. Just for the record, Mr. Chairman, we have received a copy from the chief of staff of Senator Bongo and the Senator Bongo.
That's okay.
Mr. Chairman, we have also received a letter that was signed by Cesar Kim, managing partner of Mr. Len Wishung, and informing this committee that Mr. Len Wishung is currently out of the country and will not be able to attend the hearing today. While Ms. Rose Monogin, the spouse of Mr. Larry Singh is also present. Thank you for coming, ma'am. Next is the letter coming from Ms. Attorney Carpio. Attorney Man Carpio. And in this letter, Mr. Chairman is requesting, is requesting to be excused from today's hearing because of no ample time there is study making of his scope, and is requesting 4 copies of the following documents at least 3 days before the next schedule. Affidavits of witnesses, minutes of the previous meetings, inquiries, other similar and related documents or statements. Mr. Chairman, I move that later discussion on this letter as sent to us by Ms. Mr. Man Castro to be discussed, to be discussed at the later part of this hearing, Mr. Chairman. With regards to the documents, having requested by Mr. Carpio, Mr. Chairman. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion as stated. Any second? Duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
And we have received a copy of the letter coming from the former Commissioner Aydon. And since he's present, I think I've seen.
Yes, former Commissioner Aydon is present.
Mr. Chairman, since he's present in today's hearing, we'll just ask him about the content of his letter in the later part when the time of former Commissioner Aydon will be up. Again, Mr. Chairman, we have received a copy of a statement from the Science Batch TV with regards to the Mario case and calling for justice. Just for the record, Mr. Chairman, we have received a copy of this letter coming from Science High School Batch TV. And we have also a copy of a letter coming from the Department of Justice with regards to the whereabouts of Ismail Roque, whereabouts of Eddie Young, Aka Young G, and the business for cancellation of US visa of Misha Minalama. Just for the record, and if the committee would want to discuss about it, we will discuss this in the later part of this hearing. And lastly, we turn to the last report, Mr. Chairman. We have received a copy, letter coming from the former retired Police Senior Superintendent Father Sento. As for my knowledge, is with our meeting this year.
We have extended an invitation to the former Colonel Asherto, who is now in Zoom, and will be called later in the day when we resume our discussions after the admin matters.
Mr. Chairman, second to the last lang po to. We have also received a letter coming from the Tado and Associates Law Office, courting Police Colonel Hector Gialdo, and which is a contract between Police Colonel Gialdo and the services of the Tado and Associates Law Office. And the letter was signed by Attorney J.P. Mercado. Is Attorney Mercado present? Attorney Mercado? Okay. Mr. Chairman, we give a discussion on the letter of Police Colonel Gialdo, since the lawyer of the good Colonel just asked me, lawyer, Mr. Chairman. And his official entry of appearance into this hearing. Now lastly, Mr. Chairman, just a while ago, we have received now.
Mr. Chair, with the indulgence of the Honorable Paduano.
With the indulgence of Congressman Paduano, Congressman Ato, you recognize.
May I know if Colonel Grijaldo has an excuse letter so far as is absent into this hearing?
None. Attached with is the letter, cover letter of coming from the lawyer itself, and at the same time, only attached medical certificates without a letter is just coming from Colonel Briago.
Mr. Chair, may I move that we issue a show cause order to further carry out to explain his absence in today's hearing, despite the conveyance. So move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to issue a show cause order to Colonel Grijaldo for being absent today. Any second?
Second.
Julie seconded. Any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
And lastly,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
just on the topic of Colonel Hector Grijaldo, I was going through the pages that were sent regarding his absence. Nakikita ko po dito sa kanyang patients first. Apparently, this is a medical explanation on why he is not here because he's suffering from shoulder pain. Unfortunately, Mr. Chair, there is no date indicated in the prescription letter. Other than that, on another page of his medical certificate, again, there is no date mentioned in his letter that he has forwarded to the committee. So I would just like to find out, Mr. Chair, is this verified and true?
Maybe we can ask his lawyer, Your Honor. We will have the discussion of the matter of Colonel Grijaldo.
Okay, I will defer to the better judgment. Okay. This is something that I noticed when I was going through the documents. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, yes, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Congressman Fernandez.
Dapat hindi na po ako magsasalita about this because you mentioned our name in the affidavit that testified in Senate. And accordingly, when I saw the motion po ni Chairman Ako, may wala po nga nakita na wala siyang excuse letter and justified po yung pag-move for the show cause order. And at the same time, pinagin naman ni DS also yung medical certificate. I think this is a prescription. And accordingly, nakalagay po dito yung kanyang problema, yung chronic left shoulder dislocation, and there are like procedure for MRI. Maybe we can ask the pihaw, no? Kasi I believe that andito ba yung pihaw natin sa PNP?
Because Mr. Chairman, yes, Mr. Chairman, with the indulgence of Congressman Co-Chair Fernandez, we'll just discuss it later, no? And then in fact, if you want to speak something about what really transpired during your conversation with Grijaldo, we ask you to vacate your position as Co-Chair and be
Yes.
the spokesperson, as
Oh,
the resource person.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As a matter of fact, that's what I intend to do, to inhibit myself in the discussion about this issue. And agreeing with Chairman Bante, we will be trying to relieve temporarily our chairmanship in order to discuss this in transparent and impartial and honest investigation of this matter, because this pertains to the integrity of this Quadcom, and we don't want that this Quadcom be deluged with so many bad comments about what Chairman Abante and this presentation have done in order to better the truth about the conformity of Colonel Grijaldo. Unfortunately, he's not here right now and he is sick. And that saddened us as well because we wanted really the members to ask him about what really happened, if there was really indeed a coercion and harassment that was done by Chairman Abante and myself. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and with that, if we will be discussing our issue with Colonel Grijaldo already, this representation on behalf of, I will be yielding my position as the chairman of this
Mr. Chair, thank you.
Also, be subjected procedure of a resource person. Indeed, we need to be subjected to the procedure being undertaken in this court.
Okay, that's noted, Congressman Hernandez. Before that, Congressman John, let me ask if Congressman Patuano is ready now.
Not yet, Mr. Chairman, this will be the last,
Just a matter of
With the guidance of Congressman Patuano.
Okay, so let us see, please proceed. Let me see that. And last, but at least at last, we received a copy, a letter coming from the former president, Rodrigo Duterte, and the authority given to Attorney Drgs, as his counsel in this investigation, Mr. Chairman. Just a while ago. And I think all the members is a copy of the letter coming from Attorney Drgs, with regards to the reply of the former president on the invitation of this committee, Mr. Chairman. So I give the floor to Mr. Chairman, that of the wisdom of the members of this committee, how we will go about with the letter of Attorney Drgs representing the former president. And is Attorney Drgs present?
Not today, sir.
Before we discuss with that, Mr. Chairman, I move, since of course he has a letter sent to us on the former president, giving authority to Attorney Drgs, I move, Mr. Chairman, that we issue a show cause order for Attorney Drgs to be present on the next hearing on the basis of his letter, no? And the authenticity of such authority given to him by the former president. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a before we rule on the motion, let me allow the members who wish to manifest. While we are in this subject matter on the letter sent to us by Attorney Drgs as the counsel and the former president, may we ask what is the pleasure of Congressman
Mr. Chair, before I touch on the issue raised just now by Chairman Patuano, Mr. Chair, while our invitees' names were mentioning by our COMSEC, I noticed, Mr. Chair, that one of our invited guests is present in today's hall. I noticed that former Commissioner Tanofay stood up when his name was mentioned. And just to be fair to our guests who are present today, may I humbly request, Mr. Chair, that our COMSEC assist our guest to his seat, because I believe I saw his name tag, nameplate on the table, so he will be seated properly at the table, Mr. Chair. So may I request former Commissioner to proceed to the table to his assigned seat, and direct our secretary to please assist him.
Okay, thank you. Can you please assist former Commissioner Pailon to his seat?
Mr. Chair, may I proceed? The matters of the letter of
Yes, please.
yeah, Mr. Chair, I believe, Mr. Chair, that the letter that was sent to this committee is about the reasons why the former president opted not to attend this committee hearing. As we all know, Mr. Chair, previous days ago, he attended the Senate inquiry on the same subject matter, Mr. Chair. I would just like to be reminded as to how do we go about with the extending invitation to our resource persons. I understand, Mr. Chair, that the committee, this Quad committee, has been so lenient to the former president and to some individuals. And I agree with the leniency we have extended to the former president, accorded to him, being a former president and being a former head of state, Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, some of the guests here who were present, who were not present, sent us a letter, an excuse letter, specifying medical reasons. And for some, they have also sent their lawyers to represent them. I believe the lawyer of the former president, Attorney Debra, is being given authority by his client, this being the former president, to appear on his behalf. Because as I was glancing over the letter of Attorney Debra, specifying the reasons why the former president decided not to attend this committee, and some of them are, to me, is some of the reasons, at least on my part, the way I understood it, is not only on the basis of him avoiding or refusing to attend the Quadcom, but he even went to assail the integrity of the House of the Quad Committee, and even questioning the impartiality of some of the members of this Quad Committee. Now, I believe some of the members in the Senate, our counterpart, will also be extended the same invitation. But due to the parliamentary courtesy, we understand we never forced for these individuals to appear before this committee. I just want to be clarified as to the questions of attacking the credibility of the Quad Committee, and to some extent even questioning the impartiality of some of the members here, and in totality questioning the integrity of this Quad Committee. I really would want to ask Attorney Delta to expound on this letter. Because the former president attended the Senate committee investigation and so generously shared his thoughts on his policy on the war against illegal drugs. And as I was glancing over the letter, I also noticed that there are even some allegations of subordination. That some of the members here who urged a certain individual to say something, which basically inducing perjury. So that is something to me that cannot be just simply ignored because it borders criminal acts, Mr. Chair. And the third one, Mr. Chair, is that the reason why the former president is not present today is because, according to his lawyer, he has sufficiently and generously shared his inputs and insights and comments to the Senate subcommittee chaired by Senator Coco. But unfortunately, my confusion, Mr. Chair, is that when his allies, his spokesperson was asked about the truthfulness of his responses to the interpellation of one of the members of the Senate, he told the public that it was merely a joke, that the truthfulness of the statements of the former president seems to be in question. Because how can we take something which is a joke? So it makes me it's difficult for me, Mr. Chair, to just simply take as it is at face value the transcript from the Senate, when we do not even know which part of his statement is a joke and which part of his statement is real and true. These questions I would really want to ask to his lawyer. Now again, we don't require the former president to be present because we accorded to him the leniency and the respect that he deserves as a former head of state, as a former president. But then again, these allegations of impartiality, questioning the impartiality of this Quad Committee, assailing the integrity of the Quad Committee, at the very least, Mr. Chair, I really expecting that Attorney Delta would be present rather than just send to us a simple 3 pages letter. At the very least, he could at least enter his presence here, his attendance, Mr. Chair. So I just want to be clarified on how do we go about this. Kasi unang-una, Mr. Chair, para Look at all our findings here, Mr. Chair. Some of the most important personalities that will give us insights and inputs for this committee to be guided properly and correctly in arriving to a sound judgment once we file before the plenary and report before the plenary, the committee are not here, are not present. Some of them, bigla na lang sumasakit ng mga balik. Bigla na lang may sumasakit sa mga katawan nila. Some of them are still, mayroon mga search warrant, iba. So I just do not want to impress upon the public that these individuals who have served the government, who at some point in time took the oath of allegiance to the Constitution. At alam po natin ito lahat, upholding the Constitution without mental reservation or acts of evasion. The very Constitution that is sworn to uphold and pledge the allegiance to gives us the mandate to constitutionally exercise our oversight function. What they're doing right now, Mr. Chair, is a clear act of evasion. Mr. Chair, I just want to be clarified, how do we go about with this kind of situation?
Mr. Chair, thank you for that manifestation, Congressman Young. We will address that concern later when the committee deliberates on the contents of the letter sent to us by Attorney Delgra. Yes, Congressman Morales, you're ready.
Mr. Chair, Attorney Delgra is just being the lawyer, Mr. Chair. It's just, I think, stating the reasons given by his client, the former president. So if we insist that he be present, Mr. Chair, I don't think he will be the best person to answer the questions that we may have. It should be the former president himself. But I do not agree with the reasons he stated in his letter, Mr. Chair. But I don't think he's the proper person to ask. He's just the representative of the former president.
Mr. Chair, we have a situation here now. Congressman Adyong asking for clarifications as to how can he address the former president intelligent questions that needs answers directly from the former president, while Congressman King Flores is stating that Attorney Delgra cannot answer these queries that will be propounded by the members. So,
Mr. Chair, may I respond to that?
Mr. Chair,
Very short,
Mr. Chair.
short, very brief.
Congressman Adyong first,
Yeah.
and Congressman Adyong.
Thank you.
Just make it short.
Yeah, very brief, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I understand, Mr. Chair, my good friend here, Congressman Keith Flores. But number one, Attorney Delgra was chosen by President, so he confidently have trust on Attorney Delgra to at least respond on his behalf. Questions. Number two, the of this representation simply is on the matters of the content of the letter. I will not be asking Attorney Delgra on how the previous administration implemented the war on drugs. I understand that he is not capable and he is not competent to answer these questions. I would simply wanted to ask, since his signature is affixed in his letter, I would simply want to ask how, I'm pretty sure they have discussed this over with his client. So I just want to elucidate to us, how did his client, the former president, arrive at this kind of conclusion? Because what appears to me, Mr. Chair, and what I do not simply cannot afford to understand, is that the House of Representatives being part of the two bicameral chamber of the Congress, the Senate on one hand and the House on the other hand, that a certain individual can simply select which institutional office he would like to go to. Now, to me, the former president had displayed a very active participation during the Senate investigation. And how come we cannot afford that? This the respect that we have accorded to him because he was a former president. And I do not at least expect him to give us praises, you know, to even, at the very least, compliment the works of this Quad Committee. But I did not expect that he would assail the integrity of the Quad Committee and even attack the integrity and the partiality of some of the members here, Mr. Chair. So those are the questions I would like to ask to Mr. Atty. Delta. And some of the members here, Mr. Chair, entered their appearances here. So do we also extend the same courtesy to Atty. Delta?
I absolutely agree with you, Congressman Adjong, that we will have to require the counsel of the former president to enter his appearance before this committee. Unfortunately, when we received that letter the other day, we tried to reach him and ask for his presence for today so that maybe he can find out some or maybe answer some clarification we may ask. So if I may, okay, what is the point of order, Congressman Ako?
There was a motion a while ago for Atty. Drgs to be issued the talks order. But pursuant to our record, we have it invited in accordance with our protocol. An invitation is supposed to be made first. And if he does not appear, the show cause order will be issued by the committee. So I think we should issue first an invitation to Atty. Drgs for him to appear and show to us yung service engagement agreement that Atty. Drgs has with the president, former president, simply because it will be consistent with our protocol. In the case of Michael Yam, Atty. Raymond Fortun was asked to produce yung agreement po nila. Mr. Michael Yam as an attorney. So, Mr. Chair, to be consistent with our protocols, I move that we issue an invitation to Atty. Drgs rather than issuing a show of order. So move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to invite Atty. Drgs.
Sige naman. Ako we go with
The
the
indulgence of Congressman Ako, because there was a motion that the chair and the committee was about to rule. Now, because of that, there are interjections. And because there are interjections from the co-chairs, you have to entertain first before the rule. Now, in this case, Congressman Tablano, and then Congressman Dan Fernandez, and then Congressman H. Fibers. Okay, is that, yes, Congressman Tablano.
I give it to the ganito lang po to why I move to issue a small cause, but I don't have any debate in regards to the possible amendments to my motion of regards to and show cause order for Atty. Drgs. But remember, Mr. Chairman, that we have already sent 2 invitations. This is the second hearing that we invited the former president. And the first invitation was answered by Atty. Drgs. On behalf of the president, in the absence of that authority, we requested that this committee to this representation during the last hearing. Now, Mr. Chairman, looking at the answer, looking at the reply of Atty. Drgs on the first hearing, well, Pag-Chief na nagdulong one time dito. Why? Why? Because the first reply made by Atty. Drgs representing the former president is that the excuse is that the former president needs much rest. And assured this committee that he will be present in the next hearing. At the same time, he has a specific date, Mr. Chairman, given to this committee through this letter after November 1. And let me read, Mr. Chairman, allow me to read in toto the portion of such reply coming from Atty. Drgs. Hence, my client respectfully request to defer his appearance before the Honorable Committee scheduled tomorrow. Rest assured of my client's willingness to appear before the House of Representatives on some other available day, preferably after November 1, 2024. And for the record, Mr. Chairman, the invitation that was sent to the former president and was answered by Attorney was before the presence of the former president in the city. And he has promised us, this committee, through his letter, that after November 1, he will be present in today's hearing. Ano to? Nagdulupan tayo dito? Well, in fact, I will not discuss and argue with our colleague, Congressman Kit Flores, with regards to the content of this second letter. But, malinaw po, Mr. Chairman, na naglulukuhan tayo dito. Naglulukuhan tayo dito because this first letter promised us that he will be present after November 1. Kung hindi naglulukuhan dito, ay ano? Natatakot siya? Napupunta dito? Ay siya, Mr. Chairman, that's why my first motion was to issue a so-called order for Attorney Drgs to answer both letters. And, Mr. Chairman, and I would like to say once again that we should invite again the former president to be present in the next hearing.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Congressman
Mr. Chair.
Pasado.
Mr. Chair.
As I promised, Congressman Fernandez,
Yes.
and then we will rule on the motion.
Okay. Mr. Chairman,
Congressman
Mr. Chairman, there are three reasons mentioned by Attorney Delgra in consultation with the former president para hindi po siya umattend ng ating pong hearing. First, binanggit po niya yung pangalan ko at binanggit niya yung pangalan ni Chairman Abante. Nag-prejudge na po kami doon sa mga pinanggit niya po doon sa Senado and citing some provision of Republic Act 1981, particularly Section 6 on the willful killing. And with this, Mr. Chairman, we are being accused that nabahigan ng prejudgment yung mga issue that he mentioned. With that, Mr. Chairman, para lang po mawala na itong issue to. Again, Mr. Chairman, I'm willing, this representation is willing to inhibit myself in asking questions with regards to this willful killing. And I hope that my co-chair here, Chairman Abante, will do the same. In relation to the first issue that the former president, with consultation of his lawyer, cited in this letter. Secondly, that's the reason why we asked the presence of Colonel Grijaldo to be here. Because he accused us of coercion and harassment and threats. And that's the reason why we are questioning, yung mga medical certificate that he submitted to this Congress. We wanted that the integrity of this Quadcom will be clear eventually. And with that, Mr. Chairman, eradicating the coercion and harassment and the threats that he accused us, then the reason for the President not to attend on this Quadcom will be eliminated. Thirdly, Mr. Chairman, the only last reason that he mentioned in this letter is all questions were already answered in the Senate. And that is not true. Because we have a lot of 20,000 questions that we wanted to ask him. And with this, Mr. Chairman, yung kung reason niya for not to be here is not acceptable. So, Mr. Chairman, I believe that my position in trying to inhibit ourselves in this investigation pertaining to the number one issue that we mentioned, and also with the issue of Colonel Grijaldo, we will comply with the mandate of this Quadcom to inhibit ourselves and be a part of the resource persons that will be questioned by the members of this Quadcom. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Congressman Dan Fernandez. Now, Congressman Ace Matters. There was a motion earlier that the committee invite
Mr. Chairman, you are recognized.
that Attorney Delgra, being the counsel of the former president, be invited in the next
hearing. And we direct the committee secretariat to take note of that and send the invite in the next Quadcom hearing to Attorney Drgs. Any second? Duly seconded. Any objections?
I object, Mr. Chair.
What is the objection of
We get nothing from it, Mr. Chair. All he's just gonna say is that that is what my client said. So that's the end of it, Mr. Chair.
1 minute suspension. Hearing is resumed.
Mr. Chair,
Let me just
parliamentary inquiry.
Let me just take the parliamentary status before we went on recess. The parliamentary status is that we are approving and voting on the motion by Congressman Ako to invite Attorney Drgs, being the lawyer and counsel of the former president. And when the chair asked for a second, there was a second to this motion. But when the chair asked for an objection, there was an objection stated by Congressman Flores. Am I made to understand, Congressman Flores, that you are withdrawing your objection?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I withdraw my objection if Attorney Drgs will enter into this. But as far as the questions that you want to ask of him, Mr. I will reiterate my position.
Okay, that is noted. Thank you. Since the objections of the objection of Congressman Flores has been withdrawn, then the chair will rule that the motion is approved. Yes, Congressman,
I guess we have already moved on the motion to invite.
That's correct.
Just to put context, Mr. Chair, of the manifestation of this humble representation. Mr. Chair, the reason why I wanted Attorney Drgs to be present, in fact, today, and not possible sa next week is, I agree with Congressman Flores that he is not competent to answer questions pertaining to the implementation of illegal war drugs. But just to be honest, Mr. Chair, I don't think the former president will ever attend the Quadcom meeting. I'm sorry to say that. I really have a strong feeling that he will never attend the Quadcom meeting. And since Attorney Drgs is his lawyer, I wanted to ask him about the content of his letter. I'm sure he's a capable lawyer and competent enough to elucidate to this representation. If you're not a lawyer, what does he mean by subordination? Because
Yes,
that's one of the allegations. Not really, Mr. Chair. I also wanted to ask Attorney Drgs, which part of the testimony of his client to the Senate, during the committee hearing, which portion of it is joke and which portion of it is true? Because he's trying to provide us, or advising us to just simply request the transcript from the Senate. Mr. Chair, I have no problem if individuals want to make other people laugh all the time. I have no trouble with that. If you want to turn yourselves as clowns, that's your business, that's your concern. But at the expense of serious issues. Not at the expense of the collateral damages, the innocents who died during the course of the war drugs.
Okay, thank you,
And that's my
Congressman.
only point, Mr. Chair, that I'd like to know.
Yeah,
Thank you very
your
much.
observation is noted, and we will consider discussion on that particular observation when we come to that at the proper time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your manifestation. Now, marami po kasi tayong nakikita dalawa po yung ating topic na yan, yung EJK at saka yung ating drugs. And we will proceed first with the topic on the illegal drugs. So, maybe ask the concept first to please administer the oath of the resource persons we invited for the first time in this committee hearing. And then we will proceed with the hearing proper. Concept?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Those who are attending for the first time, please stand. And please raise your right hand for the oath. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this congressional inquiry? So help you God. Yes. Thank you. They all said yes, sir. The oath has been administered. Thank you.
Okay, maraming salamat ating mga resource persons. Thank you, Comsec. I have here a list of those people, of the members who wish to interpolate. But before that, there is a manifestation by Congressman Bordato. You are recognized or given 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I rise today to express my commendation for the exemplary work being conducted over the past few months by what is now popularly known as the Quadcom, a veritable super body composed of 4 standing House committees tasked to investigate the issues surrounding the Philippine offshore gaming operators, or the OPOs, and the extrajudicial killings. First and foremost, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recognize the tireless efforts of the chairman of the following committees. Representative Robert A. Barbers of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, who acts as the chairman of the Quadcom. Representative Dan S. Fernandez of the Committee on Public Order and Safety. Representative Bienvenido M. Abante Jr. of the Committee on Human Rights. And Representative Joseph Caraps Paluano of the Committee on Public Accounts. Their leadership, transparency, and unwavering commitment to truth-seeking have been truly commendable. Through their painstaking efforts, the Quadcom has not only brought critical issues to light, but also raised the bar for how we should approach investigations in this chamber with integrity, impartiality, and a clear sense of purpose. I also wish to extend my deepest gratitude to Senior Deputy Speaker Dong Gonzales, Deputy Speaker J. Suarez, and Representative Romy Ako, the Chair of the Committee on Transportation and Vice Chair of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs. Additionally, Mr. Chairman, I must commend our esteemed interpreters, young and very intelligent, who have fearlessly asked the difficult questions and examined the facts with diligence. Their perseverance in scrutinizing the details and challenging those who stand before the committee has brought us closer to the truth, and in turn provided a glimmer of hope to the families of those affected by these tragedies. Mr. Chairman, I had every intention to join this interpellation myself, but as it stands, I lack the comprehensive data that my colleagues have already so expertly gathered and utilized. In their capable hands, they have unearthed vital information that moves us closer to accountability and justice. As stated earlier by Representative Abante, no one no matter how powerful, should it be immune from accountability. The perpetrators of these heinous acts must face the full consequences of the law. And we owe it to the families of the victims to seek justice with unyielding resolve. Mr. Chairman, likewise, the inquiry into the Pogos has revealed very disturbing truths about their impacts on our society. The revelations surrounding criminal activities tied to these operators demand our swift and decisive action to ensure that such harmful elements are rooted out and prevented from further damaging our social and economic fabric. Mr. Chairman, let us remain united in our pursuit of truth, justice, and accountability. We must not allow this investigation to falter, nor the voices of those who seek justice to go unheard. As public servants, it is our duty to ensure that the truth is uncovered, that justice is served, and that we work together to prevent such abuses from ever occurring again. With that, I once again thank and commend the chairman, the interpellators, and all those who have worked tirelessly to champion the cause of truth and justice. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Congressman Doblado. Maraming salamat sa iyong pagpupuri sa Quadcom, and this would not have been possible, of course, as we all know, without the support of the Secretariat, the members of the 19th Congress, as well as the leadership of the House, headed by the Speaker himself, Speaker Martin Romualdez. So before we proceed with the... Yes, Congressman Suarez?
Yeah, just because the good Congressman mentioned my name, can I just have 2 minutes?
You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, I would like to thank Congressman Brigado for your kind words. But the success of the Quadcom is not solely because of the efforts of the representatives of the 19th Congress, but also of the resource persons who come, who make time, who patiently wait for their time to be heard, and to be given the opportunity to explain. That's why I would like to manifest, Mr. Chair, my disappointment that our President is absent today. In fact, dito po talaga natin malalaman yung katotohanan kung nabibigyan natin ng pagkakataon ng mga taong salita ng paliwanag. At kung hindi po natin bubuksan ang mga usapin na mabibigyan ng mahihirap, paano po natin mabibigyan ng hustisya at katarungan? At sagot sa maraming tanong na umabalot sa ating bansa. Napakita na po ng ating community na nagbibigay at nakakapaglabas tayo ng mga legislation, proposed legislation. I would like to commend the chairman of this committee for again earlier today going to the Records Department and submitting another proposed measure, which I think will benefit the country with regards to the forfeiture of illegally source properties na pwede pong maibigay at magamit ng ating mga mamamayang Pilipino. So, muli, Congressman Brigado, nagpapasalamat po ako sa mga magagandang salita mo at sana magsilbing inspirasyon to para sa ating lahat na patuloy po natin paglaban ng katotohanan at hanapin po natin ang mga tamang solusyon sa mga totoong problema na hinaharap ng ating bansa. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker Suarez. Before we proceed with the hearing proper, ito muna i-acknowledge natin yung ating mga members who just came in. Congressman Ernesto Ernix Jr., Congressman Lordan Suan, Congressman Patrick Michael Vargas, Congressman Jefferson Congun, Congressman Salvador Prieto, Congressman Joey Aquino. Welcome and good morning po sa inyo. Now, we have on Zoom a former member of the Philippine National Police, who was if I'm not mistaken, the deputy of the drug enforcement group that operated on several illegal clandestine Shabu laboratories and anti-illegal drug operations in the past. And I think he is now on Zoom. Maybe ask Colonel Asherto if you are present. Kayo po ba'y nandiyan sa... Can you hear us?
Opo, narinig ko po kayo. Magandang umaga po.
Magandang umaga sa iyo, Colonel. Colonel, maaaring alam niyo na po, no, ng ating topic ngayong umaga ay tungkol po sa illegal drugs. And bilang isang operatiba ng anti-illegal drugs noong kayo'y nasa Philippine National Police pa, maaari po bang bigyan nyo kami ng idea kung ano po ba ang inyong mga operation noon na may kinalaman dito sa pagpapahinto nitong illegal drugs dito sa ating bansa?
Marami pong ginawang example po is yung sa Antipolo, ang unang pong laboratory na nahuli na merong na actual ang nagluluto at more than 1 ton o 1,000 kilos ang nakuha po doon. Meron din po kami nakuha laboratory sa Mandawi, Cebu.
Excuse me na po. Kasi kayong video eh. Pwede bang, can you ask the technical, pwede bang may video? And nakikita niyo po ba ang komite? Colonel Asherto?
Hindi po. Hindi ko pa nakikita.
So,
pero nakaon po ang video ko.
Can you please, technical? And before that, habang inaayos pa ko ng technical, may we ask you to take your oath, Colonel Asherto. Consent, please, administer the oath.
Umuwi po ako kanina.
Nag-oath ka na kanina.
Sumuboy po ako para save time po.
O hindi po namin nakita kasi, Colonel, so pwede po ba natin ulitin? At sa ganun, may record po kami na kayo po'y sumupa at nag-oath.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Sir, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to this congressional conference?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Colonel Asherto. Pwede po bang ulitin ninyo inyong report kanina?
Makinig lang po yung mga ibang maalala po operator namin. Una po, yung San Pipolo, na unang pagkakataon na mayroong nahuli ng actual na nagluluto sa loob ng Shabu Laboratory. At sobra 1,000 kilos ng Shabu ang nakuha doon. Sumunod isang Mandawi, Cebu, na mga more than 16 yata na foreign nationals na nandun na mix. Meron Indonesia, Malaysia. Then yung famous na Cebu, of the Changi sa Pasig. At ang isa pa ay ang sa Davao, sa Daway, Davao City, na nabas namin ang Shabu Laboratory doon noong 2004, December 31 po. Yun na po yung marami pa ako kaya hindi ko lang po maalala. Pero yun po yung mga significant na trabaho namin.
Sige, maraming salamat po, Colonel Asherto. Ang aming po mga kasamahan dito ay gusto rin po magtanong sa inyo. The first to interpolate is Congressman Benny Abante. You are recognized, Congressman Abante.
Magandang umaga sa iyo, Colonel Asherto.
Magandang umaga po.
Kayo po pala ay na-assign na sa iba't ibang PNP stations, ano po?
Sa totoo po, ako po ay lagi naka-assign sa mga task forces. Hindi po ako na-assign sa station o sa probinsya. Lagi pong special unit yung aking pong assignment. Anti-illegal drugs, the here.
At kayo po ay nasa ilalim ng sino pong official, usually? Sa isa lang po ba kayo nasa ilalim ng official o ilang official lang nasa, kayo po ay nasa ilalim nila?
Ang mga boss ko po ay yung mga director namin, director ng HOT o Task Force Commander, na sila General Lipay hanggang umabot kay General Bacalso, General Ling de Leon, General Kakda. Then nung bandang huli na, ang pinakahuling boss ko po ay si Colonel Pero, si General Mijares. Yun po ang mga naging boss ko po.
Alam po ba nila ang inyong involvement sa mga operasyon rito? At alam po ba nila ang inyong mga in-expose recently? Involved po ba sila dyan o hindi po?
Ako po, hindi man po ako nagtatrabaho ng kailan ng boss ko. Alam po nila na lahat yun. Kung ang tinutukoy niyo po ay tungkol sa report na ginawa ko tungkol kay Michael Yang at kay Alan Lim. Alam po yan ng aking director during that time na si Director Yares.
Meron po ba silang ginawang report tungkol dito? O kayo po ba ay silang nag-agree po ba sila sa inyo? O sila po ba ay sumang-ayon? O nakasama kayo upang i-expose to mga bagay na ito?
Kasabi ng panel po, sinabing ko po ang report ko kay General Bato, pero wala po nangyari. Hindi po niya nilakaksyonan. Iba po ang ginawa niya. Ang ginawa niya is ang kinausap niya ay si Alan Lim. Imbis na ako yung kausapin na gumawa ng report, si Alan Lim ang kinausap niya. Then, nagbigay din po ako ng report kay Director General Aquino ng PIDEA. Sa kanya naman po, in fairness po sa kanya, tinatawag niya ako, kinausap niya ako, in-explain ko sa kanya yung report ko kung paano ko nakuha, at ang sabi niya, ipapadala niya ipapaabot na sa Malacanang. Pero, nung pumutok na po ito, medyo nag-deny po siya na ang sabi niya is hindi niya maalala kung kanina niya binigay sa Malacanang. Nakakapagtaka naman po noon eh. Napaka-importante yung report. Hindi alam kung iniwan yung report. Ang naging then, nagbigay din po ako ng report kay General Albayalde, si PNP Albayalde. At nung una, dininay niya. Ganun din, dininay niya nung una. Pero nung sinabi siya merong litrato, medyo nakakalala niya. So, inamin din niya. Pero wala siyang ginawa. Katulad nila General Bato, De La Rosa, Alan Aquino, at Oscar Albayalde, wala silang ginawa doon sa report. Talagang tinabayaan nila yung report. Then, hanggang sa umabot na yung hindi nila ma-dispute yung aking report. Ang ginawa nila is ako yung siniraan. Siniraan ako at yung team ko. Dahil nga doon, yung isang kasama ko na gumawa ng report, video call, si Captain Lito Perote, hanggang ngayon nawawala. At ang isa ay binakil, namatay. Si retired Master Sergeant Jerry Liwanag. Wala po umaksyon sa report ko.
Ano po ang posisyon ni Senator Bato de la Rosa kung kinausap ko siya tungkol sa amin?
Siya po ang chief deputy noon, pero hindi po kami nag-usap ni minsan tungkol sa report ko. Hindi niya ako kinausap.
ang kinausap ay si Alan Lim o si Lee Wenxiong. Yun ang kinausap niya.
Kung hindi po kayong kinausap ni Senator Bato, paano po niya nalaman ang inyong operasyon?
Nalaman niya po na meron akong report dahil meron po nagsabi sa kanya na meron akong report tungkol kay Lee Wenxiong o Alan Lim. Nalaman niya yung report ko na kay Director Tascolan. Pinawagan niya po si Director Tascolan na pinakuha niya yung report ko. Nalaman ko po ito kasi tinawagan ako ni Director Tascolan. Tinatanong ako kung nag-usap kami ni Chief PNP Bato that time. Kasi bakit daw pinapakuha yung report ko. Ang sabi ko kay General Tascolan, kasi hindi po ako pinakausap, hindi ko po alam kung paano niya nalaman na meron akong report na ibinigay sa inyo.
Noong pong 2017, sino po ang Director General ng Philippine National Police? Patuloy po ba?
During that time po, siya pa po ang director.
At iko'y gumawa ng isang
Director General.
report. Iko'y gumawa ng isang report noong 2017 na kung saan lumabas ang pangalan ng mga high profile ng mga tao. Tulad din ng Michael Yang at Alan Lim, na kilalang parehong malapit kay dating Pangulong Duterte. Tama ko ba ito?
Actually, meron pa isang pangalan po doon, si Johnson Chua.
Johnson Chua. Ito pong report na ito ay naibigay po kay Senator Bato ng panahon na.
Naibigay po sa kanya.
Pero wala po siyang ginawa.
Wala. Ang ginawa niya po ay, ang kinausap niya si Alan Lee. Then kinausap siya ni Michael Yang.
Okay. Bakit po na kinausap si Alan Lee? Palagay niyo.
Ang alam ko po is kinonfront niya si Alan Lee at umamin si Alan Lee sa kanya kasi yung nahuli sa Cavite na laboratory na ang pangalan na ginagamit niya doon ay Wendy Ken.
Mga pala, kaano-ano mo si Miss Roslyn, kaano-ano mo si Alan Lee?
Your Honor, hindi ko kilala si Alan Lee.
Hindi mo kilala. Okay. So, Colonel Asierto, yung pong Dumoy raid, kailan po nangyari ito? Dumoy raid.
December 31 po, 2004.
2004. Sino po ang Director General ng Philippine National Police?
General Naglipay po.
General Naglipay. Okay. Pero po isang tanong doon, no? Sino po ba ang mga taong binantian ninyo sa inyong surveillance? Tungkol dito.
Ang prominent po doon, na pangalan ay si Alan C.
Alan C.
Opo.
Nasa ano?
Relive lang ako mga kabayan, relive lang.
Wala na po.